Hello everyone and welcome back to Kentucky Garden Gal. I am Nancy and I have not filmed a video for at least 2 months. I have been taking care of my father and thankfully he has stabilized, so I am able to get back to my YouTube channel. I appreciate all of the new people who have subscribed and I want to welcome you to my channel. And today we're going to be talking about fall gardening tips in Zone 7. So the first thing that you need to find out is when your average first frost is. And for us, it's around October the 21st. Now that is just an average, and I usually try to be prepared before then. Usually by October the 15th, I have brought in all of my plants. My house plants that I've taken outside, I've brought those in. And what I do, I start slowly bringing them in and I put them in the bathtub and I'll just water them really good and let them dry. And then that way look them over good for bugs. I'm pretty certain that I've gotten everything off. I don't want to bring anything inside. I've given them a good cleaning, and so they're ready to live in the house for the winter months. One job that I do in the fall time, and obviously we're in here checking out the chickens, and if you'll notice, some of my girls are cross-beaked. You can tell that one on this one here. But anyways, getting back to our video, one thing that I like to do is to clean up my perennials. And this is a totally personal decision on your part. You're not required to clean up your perennials, pull your annuals, things like that. And in fact, if you wait later and clean up in the spring, it's actually a really good habitat for a lot of pollinators in your garden. So the way that I do mine, I try to keep the front pretty tidy, but the back I really do let go. Here are my peonies, and as you can tell, they're looking just a little rough, and they will actually look even more rough. So I always cut mine back. I cut them all the way down to the ground. But again, this is a personal decision of yours. You're not required to do this. They will come back next year. But I feel like if I clean these up, then any disease from the dead foliage laying on the ground, I have minimized. I also cut back my hostas. You'll see the daylilies right there behind them. And I do go ahead and clean those up. And this is an excellent time. If you want to divide your plants, I think fall is the best time to do that. And sometimes I just take a shovel and go divide the plant in half and take half of it out and then go pop it in somewhere else. You can dig up the entire plant and then you'll see the sections that need to be divided. But fall is a great time for planting. And hostas and lilies are really the easiest plants to divide. Another job that you can do in the fall is harvesting your seeds. And as you can tell, I like to use these cardboard boxes that I get free from the grocery store. This is what canned goods come in. It's just the bottom. And I hold this under the seed, and this looks like, this is coneflowers, and and I write it right there on the end so I know what I've collected. But this is just a good way to collect these seeds. You can stack them. See here, I have 3 of these stacked, but it's easy to hold your little cardboard box underneath your flower, and then I use these. Get them from the Dollar Tree. They're $1, but they're just perfect for snipping off the flower seed, and then you have your seeds for next year that you can sow or you can share, whatever you want to do. And remember, if you're going to store your seeds, you want to make sure that they are completely dried if you are going to put them like in a Ziploc bag, because any moisture left in that seed head is going to cause your flower to mold. So just make sure that they've dried, and then you want to store them in a cool, dark place. And look at all those seeds for next year. This is a red hibiscus. I've been saving every seed off of this red hibiscus. Such good seeds. This is the Cleome. And another thing that I like about this, you can just shake the box like that, and the seeds will come out of the pods. So usually in the springtime is when I'll go through and get all of the little parts out that aren't the seeds. And you see how these seeds are. There's just so many seeds. And I think I collected all of these seeds in one day, and I just have to make more time to go out and collect more seeds. Another job that you will want to do in the fall time, if you have raised beds, whether it's containers, here is my cinder block raised bed, but you want to make sure that your soil level is high enough. And this is a good time. I have zinnias in this bed now, and zinnias are an annual. However, they will self-seed. So when you plant zinnias, you may see a couple come up, but you want to go and get those seeds to make sure that when you get ready to plant your zinnias, you have a good patch of those. But if you look down in my raised bed, the soil isn't all the way to the top. So once I get the flowers saved off of the zinnias, I'm going to cut these. I'll probably pull them out by the root actually, and then I will put my soil, bring my soil level up on this bed, and then I will start planting for next year. The fall is a great time to plant seeds, especially biennials, things like hollyhocks. You want to go ahead and get those sown now, so that come springtime you will stand a better chance of having some flowers. Now I'll also grow some in the greenhouse, but I try to have at least 2 ways of growing plants that I know I want in my garden: by fall sowing, direct sowing in the fall, direct seed sowing, and then starting them by seed in the early spring. If you would like some vegetables in your garden, you can certainly grow. We have some cool crops that we can grow. Leafy greens like Swiss chard, kale, and spinach. Radishes, they grow well. And this, you can see, I planted this in with my tansy, and it is just doing great. So I can come out and snap off some leaves and put them in my salad. This jungle-like area is full of lofa. You can see one starting to grow there. Look at all the flower buds on this, and I will just let this grow until it's literally killed by the first frost. But this thing has just gone crazy, and what I wanted to show you back in here is a coleus. And what I like to do in the fall, I take cuttings of this coleus And what I'm gonna do is snip it off and then take at least 2 nodes. You want 2 nodes in your water, and I will let those propagate in water in the house. And then next spring, I will have coleuses ready to go, ready to plant, and they really haven't cost me anything. And another thing that I like to do is, this is some evergreens that I'm propagating. And how can you tell if your evergreens have developed a root system and are starting to grow? Well, if they put on any growth, that's a really good sign. This one here, this one I would say is dead. But as far as the rest of them, they look like they are doing well. And I will put these, I'll bring these in the house and just continue to water them. And these things are very slow growing, so expect to have to baby these at least 3 years before you can put them out in your garden. But the last time I checked, these little evergreens were like $25 a piece. And, you know, some soil and a little bit of time, and look at all of the new evergreens that I'll have eventually. Walking through the garden, and I remembered something else that I wanted to show you all. So this is a crepe myrtle. It's in the backyard, and as you can see on this one, I have gone through and I have clipped off all of the flowers. And the reason I do that, there's some left up there that I need to get up and clip off. But by doing that, they don't self-seed, because these trees are really, really bad about self-seeding. And I have found that if I just clip those off, that I don't have that problem. And I'm really excited because this crepe myrtle, I love the way the bark is on a crepe myrtle, and that is just, it's going to be perfect. It's absolutely going to be perfect. So this is a crepe myrtle that's doing well. And like I said, I'll come back. I have to get a ladder to get up there, but I'll clip those off, and then I don't have a problem with the crepe myrtle self-seeding. The fall is also a good time to find problems in your garden. As I was looking at this, I have noticed that this is a coneflower that has aster yellow disease. See how this is malformed? Like it should have the one seed head here, but this has all of these little seed heads growing out of it. Unfortunately, when you find something like this, you need to take out the entire plant. Do not save those seeds, and remove the entire plant and put it in a trash bag and put it in your trash. Don't compost it. You want to get this out of your garden. But this is exactly what it looks like. So if you see something that looks kind of funny like that, that is a diseased plant. Want to remove that. I am extremely embarrassed to show you this. This is in my garden. And not only is it in my garden, it is in my front yard. But taking care of my dad, I got behind on everything. And one of the things that I got behind on was weeding. And you see what happens when you don't weed a flower bed. It just gets taken over. However, the good news is our flower gardens are very forgiving and they're very resilient. So what I will do, I'm going to come out and I am going to basically dig all the grass out of these flowers. I will cut back. This is a hosta, so I'll cut that back. I'm going to sow more seeds, and I'm going to make a break. I'm going to try to do a 3 to 5 inch break between this grass so that it doesn't get in my flower beds so easily. But you know, we always think about our animals, or especially our dogs, being forgiving. Our gardens are also forgiving. So if you have an area like this, don't despair. Just simply set aside some time to come out and dig this back out. And then also, you want to plant your bulbs for spring, your tulips, things like that. And when I do clean this out, I have some tulips on the way, and I am just going to fill this bed full of tulips so that next year this will give me something to look forward to, and it's not going to be the eyesore that it is right now. As I'm ending this video, I wanted to show you, this is the very front of the house, and you see this is a burning bush, and I'm going to come in and I am going to trim that up. I probably will just use a pair of nippers, but I'm going to trim this bush up. And if you like the burning bush, you can literally just cut off a stem, like right there. You can stick it in the ground in November. Just stick it in the ground and it should root. You can also do the same thing with a weeping willow. But I'll get this cleaned up. I'm going to be taking some plants inside. My begonias I'll take inside and overwinter those. Obviously, the ferns I'll take inside and overwinter. Definitely want to bring in my Christmas cactuses, the plumeria. I'll take this inside, and believe it or not, the asparagus fern will just continue to grow. And the reason this looks so bad, there was a bird that made a nest in there, and I just could not take that little nest out. So we just let the bird have its way with this plant. But this one, it looks a little bit better, but the geraniums, I will just take the whole thing in, continue to water it. And geraniums don't go dormant. So, you know, they may flower if I have it. If it gets enough sun, I'll be able to take it in. But I'll take the plants on the front porch in and save as much of them as I can. And the last thing I want to remind you to do is when you go into gardening stores, big box stores, any place that sells anything to do with gardening, everything should be on clearance. They are trying to get rid of this stuff. They've already pre-ordered for 2023. They want to put out their Christmas. So now is a good time to buy your gardening supplies, your garden soil, your fertilizer, your seeds. Just look, because that stuff is marked down to hardly nothing, and now's a good time to stock up. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it. I'm glad to be back with you all, and I look forward to seeing you next week.